Hello there, and welcome back to Dr. Robotnik's Ring Racers. As you will have guessed by the title, this is going to be a little different to usual. So far each episode has seen me complete another cup in the Grand Prix mode, with the only time I spent not doing that being a few minutes of collecting spray cans during most of my introductions. Obviously, that's an important part of progressing in this game. It's how you unlock new tracks, and doing well on cups will unlock new ones. But the real meat of progressing is not just driving through tracks and doing well on a results page. No, to really progress as a ring racer, you need to complete challenges. A set of hidden, obscure missions which are slowly revealed to you, and you need to complete a lot of them. I've completed a fair number by accident as I've made my way through the first 10 cups of the game, but this has mostly only unlocked superfluous rewards like new followers. By design, unlocking more exciting things like characters requires you to complete some of the more difficult or time-consuming challenges, and so you generally can't unlock them unintentionally. Put it another way, every episode seems to end with me being sunted onto the challenges page to watch us unlock 2 to 3 new followers. Yet I've so far only added a single new character to the base roster. That changes now. This video is a summary of my time spent attempting to complete a few of these more specialized challenges. Sometimes I failed for one reason or another. Sometimes I got halfway through a challenge before technical difficulties became too much. And sometimes the challenge ended up unlocking some stupid little Robotnik from Sonic SD as a follower, despite taking 20 minutes to complete. But by the end of it all, I had unlocked a few new characters to spice things up in future episodes. Now, when you see me start the next episode as a character other than Metal Sonic, you'll know why and how. And hey, maybe this video will show you how to complete that one challenge you've been stuck on for months. The first challenge I looked to complete was one that seemed simple enough. Winner races Amy while being chased by a self-propelled bomb. The SPB is the closest thing Ring Racers has to a blue cell, but they are much rarer. In all of my 50 plus races seen on this playthrough, I think these have appeared around a half dozen times. In principle, if I was playing as Amy and an opponent used the SPB at the right time, this challenge wouldn't be too bad, as they're easy enough to stay ahead of for a while that it's actually a key part of Ring Racers' tutorial, but it'd clearly be a huge time sink. So I opted to instead cheat the system with a match race. Disable all items other than the SPB, then have a race by myself on Pico Park. My logic was that if there were no other races present, then I'd default to first place, so as long as an SPB was on the track when I crossed the line, the challenge would click. Yeah, I got cocky and tried to outrun the SPB for the entire race. This was bound to happen, but with no other races to worry about and no other items to pollute the item roulette, it was a way to make my time more interesting. Unfortunately, Ring Racers and I were not on the same wavelength regarding the technicalities of there being a first place when there's only one racer, so there was disappointingly little sign of the challenges menu when I crossed the finish line. There was no need to panic though. The best course of action was just to add a single level 1 CPU to my race, then jump into another course to see who would win. And Sonic ended up being the other racer, and in theory, I'd just need to keep redoing the race until I ended up crossing the finish line first. Luckily, even after being blown up several times, I got my first place on my first try, which revealed my long-awaited reward was a Mosky. Great. After that, my next target was this challenge: finish a race on Emerald Coast in good standing without touching a body of water. This seems like another one that would be easy enough in a match race, and as I'm taken in good standing to just mean being in the top 3, I once again brought Metal Sonic along with me. I spent about 8 minutes here. The only body of water you really need to worry about is this large central one, and all you need to do to stay on top of it is build up enough speed. The most reliable way to do that is spin dash over this first section, then use the speed panels on these 2 platforms to make it over the rest. You do need to make sure you're taking it straight though, because missing that second platform will cause you to fall into the water. Making too big or small a turn here was the cause of most of my restarts. After I eventually managed to successfully skim along the water surface 3 times in a row, I drove across the finish line, expecting my reward. Unfortunately, however, this is a prime example of why you need to pay attention to what you are reading, because I had completely wasted my time here by not doing that. While I had done everything right in regards to my driving, the challenge had to be completed while in a Grand Prix. Match races weren't good enough, and so I ended up empty-handed. My next challenge ended up being my first time using the time attack mode. I needed to earn a silver medal on Isolated Island, which equates to completing 3 laps in just 2 minutes and 21 seconds. It's not actually that bad, especially compared to a time attack challenge that'll come up later in the video. Even on my first attempt, where I fell off the course multiple times and wasn't optimizing my race at all, I still got a time of just over 2 minutes and 28 seconds, which earned me the bronze medal. Time attack sets your speed to gear 3, which is only selectable in Grand Prix mode after beating the game, and as I was playing as one of the fastest characters, I had a big speed advantage. When I tightened up my turns and stopped falling off the track on my second attempt, I made a massive improvement, cutting my time down to 2 minutes and 9 seconds. I give all the credit for that improvement on my excellently done triangle dashes, which allowed me to take this corner much faster than before. God, it feels good remembering how to do something from one episode to another. That time is actually just 1 second above gold medal, so it was definitely a good race. Anyway, my reward was charming. Well, I did say that I wanted more characters. I didn't specify that I wanted to play as those characters, which may well have been my mistake, but at least Charmy will fill out my character select a little more, and hopefully bring a little more variety to the Grand Prix opponent list, so silver linings. The next challenge I looked at was this one. Enter the name of a famed hunter. I assumed that would mean using a certain character's name in the password menu, so I went there and didn't find anything. Again, I don't know who is on this character roster, so without any real clues on the hunter in question, I started entering all of this guy's many names. Knack, Fang, Fangu, Naku. He's a character on the base roster, but I don't know, man. I thought I might unlock Bark or Nicolette or something. Yeah, I know my Sonic deep cuts. I'll look into who else it might be in between episodes, but if it isn't the one guy in the Sonic series who is known as the Hunter, that means it's probably someone from another franchise. And that means there's going to be loads of characters who could be vaguely described as a hunter. Maybe it's Craven, the Hunter, or Anna, the Huntress, or Hunter, the Cheetah, or Hunter from the Owl House, or Zero, the Maverick Hunter, or X, the Maverick Hunter, or someone from Hunter x Hunter. I'm saying Hunter too many times and it's beginning to sound weird. In case you were wondering whether I had learned from wasting my time on Emerald Coast that I needed to read the challenge descriptions in full before trying to complete them, no. No, I did not. Hence why I wasted more time on a match race on Motorbug Motorway, avoiding all state hazards, when the description once again clearly reads that it must be done on a Grand Prix. considering how I keep doing this, it is a miracle that I do well on tests and exams. The next two challenges were a 2 birds, 1 stone situation. I had to finish the Barrier Cup with an A rank, and complete a Grand Prix as Mighty with an A rank. Gee, I wonder which cup I should play as Mighty on. I could have made it a 3 bird situation by playing on Intense and collecting the Emerald, as there are a lot of challenges which allow you to bypass their usual criteria by doing that. But I wanted to play it safe to make sure I didn't need to replay an entire cup. Relaxed it was, though I had forgotten just how painfully slow that is in comparison to Gear 2 or 3 speeds. My god. Tommy appeared now that I unlocked him, but he was surprisingly joined by Ray. It appears that races can appear even if you haven't unlocked them, as long as they are one of the assigned rivals for the character you are playing as. Because I've only played as Metal Sonic up to this point, who has Sonic and Amy as his rivals, I hadn't seen this. It's a cool concept. Anyway, 20 minutes later, can you guess what rank I got? By more than 100 points, no less. My rewards were another new character, Ray, and a Chow Egg follower. One of those is much more exciting to me than the other. Ray is a nice reward for putting up with Mighty for an entire cup. I don't know where Card Crew got his lines from, but the voice actor seemed to have been told to sound like the angriest man alive. I'll stick to my beloved mute robots. If E123 Omega is a playable character, please understand that, when found, I will be locked in as him for the rest of the duration of this playthrough. At this point, I decided it would be a good time to drop back into Time Attack, as there was a challenge for collecting a gold medal on Joypolis. Seeing how Isolated Island wasn't that bad, I had high hopes for this one. Really certain of. Bronze requires you to beat 4 laps in under 1 minute and 49 seconds, which I just barely managed with a time of 1 minute and 48 seconds. Of course, first attempts aren't perfect, and there was plenty of room for improvement. And then I found out that the silver medal was for 1 minute and 39 seconds. Alright, 10 seconds is a lot, but I thought I could maybe squeeze a few seconds out with some tighter turns. If I adapt the claw grip, I can do some brake drift and not immediately ruin my hands, and I recognise that I was a bit conservative in my ring usage. Unfortunately, further attempts at the time were marred by technical issues, as I suddenly had a massive increase in lag and dropped frames, which eventually got so bad that my racer started to ignore my commands. When I exited to a menu to try another course and see if it was just a problem with Joypolis, the control issues became so severe that it eventually became impossible to navigate the UI correctly. So I decided to leave the game for a moment and come back when it decided to work again. An hour later, I decided that the game had probably calmed down enough for me to continue recording, so I got to work on another challenge that was vaguely feasible in normal play, but would be so much easier and quicker in a match race. As Metal Sonic, hit a giant enemy with a Shrunken Orbinaut. Again, much like the Amy SPB challenge from the start of the video, this was a challenge that would be fairly easy to complete in Grand Prix, but had so many different parts that needed to come together that it was easier and much faster to game the system using custom items. Therefore, I entered Pico Park with a few other races, set the roulette so that only Shrinks and Orbinauts could spawn, and waited for the moment to strike. That moment took a lot longer than I had hoped, and was really boring in the process. But 10 minutes later, I had my chance. It may not have looked like it, because it seems like the visual shrinking and growing effects items are supposed to have when affected by a shrink or grow are very inconsistent, but that attack counted. My reward was a Cabecera follower, another useless little Robotnik from CD that I'm never going to use. I just really hate the design of the Sonic CD Robotniks, much like I hate every other aspect of that game outside of my darling Metal Sonic. Here's an example of a case where I didn't miss out vital information from a challenge description, but rather just misunderstood it. I decided to go for this challenge next. Blow up a racer that has cursed you with the egg mark. The way I took this was that I needed to let myself get cursed by the egg mark, then find the racer that initially dropped it, pass on the egg mark to them, and let them get blown up by it. Therefore, I set up a match race with nothing but egg marks, then made it so that there was only one other racer so that there was no chance I could hit the wrong one. Rereading the description now, and with the hindsight of how that failed, it's pretty clear that the challenge is to hit an enemy with an explosive like a landmine while cursed, which sounds like it'll be a nightmare to set up outside of getting another human to help me cheat the system on a multiplayer. For now though, I just moved on to another challenge. I tried a few more rounds on Joypolist to see if I could get any closer to that gold medal, but to little avail. I did reduce my time by about 5 seconds, but that still isn't good enough even to get a silver medal. I think I need to try again using a character with a tighter turning circle. Metal Sonic just doesn't seem to turn fast enough to not bounce off the walls of this corkscrew. I also posted a time on Hilltop, which is another course I need to get a gold medal on. It was strong enough to net me a bronze, but I had no idea how close I was to my ultimate goal, because it was at that moment that I won 100 rounds of Metal Sonic, which triggered the unlock of Metal Knuckles. I'm sorry, Metal Sonic, but our relationship is over. Metal Knuckles is just so much cooler. He's even part of the same engine class, so even controls pretty much the same. Now playing as Metal Knuckles, I entered the Sneak Cup in an attempt to complete a few challenges at once. I first tried to complete the Emerald Coast challenge from earlier, seeing as I was now actually in the Grand Prix, but that unfortunately fell through immediately. Then on Stormrig, I saw an opportunity to complete another challenge, which was something to do with landing an insta-whip attack while a Eudora was circling. I missed my opportunity, so it doesn't really matter much. My main goal though, in the entire reason I entered the cup in the first place, was to beat Tinkerer's Arena using just one Gatsa bomb. I had attempted this before and failed, but this time went far more smoothly. Lobbing the Gatsa bomb actually worked to hit the single airborne prison, and I even managed to collect a CD in the process. Once I heard the jingle that confirms the challenge has been completed, I quit out of the cup and collected my final reward, Bean. That means I unlocked 4 new characters in this episode alone, which brings my character roster up from 10 to 14. It also brings this video to a close. I didn't complete quite as many challenges as I wanted, seeing as I failed more of them than I honestly expected, but I'm glad so many of them yielded in a character. I've even ended up with a new main. From the next episode onwards, expect me to be racing as Metal Knuckles. There are a few challenges which I've realised as I've been scripting this that I could do quite quickly in the future, and I didn't really spot any new spray cans, so expect to see some of those turn up at the start of the next video. For now though, I hope you enjoy the video, and ciao.